Hey guys, I'm brewing with Bill, and this is a video response for Oram Wines. I have noticed a few comments on my videos that even though you are a winemaker, and might I add an accomplished one at that, that you haven't made beer yet. And not only haven't you made any beer, you haven't tried any homebrew beer. So today, I'm going to throw down a simple extract kit, and I decided to cam up, bring you along, and show you how easy it is to do. Now I do have a video on this topic already. It's called Homebrew Wednesday number 3 Kit and Kilo, but that was one of my first videos. I don't think it was very good, and I was using a different camera, so the video quality is kind of shabby. But the easiest way to get into brewing your own beer is using a pre-hopped extract kit. And the one I'm going to do today is a Cooper's Australian Pale Ale. That's what the can looks like. It is 3 3/4 pounds of concentrated liquid malt extract. The hops have already been added. The bittering and flavoring hops. And there are literally dozens of ways that you can make this. You can use 2 pounds of dextrose. You can use 2 pounds of dry malt extract. If you want a beer that's about 6% ABV, you can use 3 pounds of each. But the problem is if you use too much dextrose or corn sugar, you end up with a beer that doesn't have a whole lot of malt profile and basically tastes like an adjunct lager. And if you wanted a beer like that, you can go down to the local beer distributor or a supermarket and pick one up. So the method that I use most of the time is called 5 and 7. Now for anybody watching this video in metric countries, then you would know 5 and 7 is simply 500 milligrams of dry malt extract and 700 milligrams, or 700 grams, of dextrose. But because you and I both reside in the United States and we use the imperial system, the easiest conversion is 1 pound of dry malt extract and 1.5 pounds of corn sugar. So with this kit, I'm going to add 1 pound of sparkling amber. Okay, now you can use Pilsen, light, extra light, dark, sparkling, wheat, whatever. I'm using the amber to darken the beer up just a little bit because I like my beers to have a little flavor. And I buy my corn sugar in 3 kilogram bags, so I have pre-weighed out 1.5 pound of corn sugar here. And so this is it. That's all you need. This, your kit, and your sugar. Now you use all the same equipment that you do for winemaking. Your fermenting bucket, your hydrometer. Okay, I suggest the first couple of times you make beer to use your hydrometer and get a starting gravity. I've done this enough times that I don't do that anymore. I know from previous experience that this particular method will give me a beer with a starting gravity of give or take a few points, 1045. And if the yeast that comes with the kit attenuates the way it's supposed to, I'll end up with a beer anywhere between 5 and 5.5%. So a couple of things you're going to need, and let me move the camera here for you. Okay. Now, sorry my head's cut off, guys. This kit is concentrated and very, very thick, and you're going to need something to warm it up in. So I've got a pot of water here that's been previously boiled, and you're just going to want to put the can in the water for 15 or 20 minutes just to warm it up. And you're going to need a tea kettle or a coffee pot or something with boiling water on the side, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Now, alright, these kits are great. When you get the kit, you peel the label or the lid off, just like this. And there's two things under the lid. There is a packet, 7-gram packet of Cooper's brewing yeast. Okay, now this is a type of ale yeast, but some of Cooper's kits, like their signature Pilsner series, actually uses a lager yeast, and then it comes with instructions. And you'll notice the top of the can is kind of like divoted down, right? You're not going to be able to open it from that side. You have to open it from this side. So you turn the can upside down, put it in the warm water, and we're going to let that sit for 15 or 20 minutes while I go ahead and I clean and sanitize my fermenting bucket, a spoon to stir it with, and a small glass jar for rehydrating our yeast. So stick with me, Orm. Well, I'll be right back. It's been a half an hour for me, but through the miracle of time-lapse photography, it's probably been less than a second for you. I've got all my equipment clean and sanitized, and all the equipment that you really need is your brewing bucket, some type of an airlock, spoon, a can opener. Make sure it's clean and sanitized. You don't want any, cat food on this while you're doing it. And of course the kit, which has been warming up for the last 20 or 25 minutes. Pound of dry malt extract and your pound and a half of dextrose. Now what I've done is I boiled about a quart of water, and I put it into my my bucket to help the dried ingredients dissolve. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add those ingredients right now. First, the corn sugar. Give that a stir real quick. I'm probably going to go out of the camera, but alright. Then we're going to add the dry malt extract. Now, the funny thing about this dry malt extract is it's very, very susceptible to humidity. And the steam that's coming out of the quarter boiled water that I put in there will cause this to clump up. So when you decide to pour this in, don't muck about with it. Make a big enough cut on the top of the bag, or take the top off the bag and just dump the whole thing in, because the steam will cause it to clump up around the top of the bag. So then we add this. And we give this a really good stir. Now, dry malt extract, like I said, is very susceptible to humidity, and once you put it in here, it's going to turn into one giant clump. So all you have to do is keep stirring it, and it will eventually all dissolve. And make sure you stir it really, really, really well. Continue to stir until you don't see any solid pieces. This might take a minute. Alright, maybe more than a minute. Now this this process of stirring, besides getting rid of all the dry malt clumps, also helps to aerate the wort. That should do it. And I know I've only got one camera. I'm going to try and turn this so you can see what it looks like. And I don't know, can you see that? No? Alright. Well, it smells like beer, but it's just a light brown liquid right now. Okay. Alright, that's better. So now we're just going to open up the can and we'll pour that in as well. Now when you open the can, you want to cut it open, but you don't want to go completely around. Leave a small bit of the lid in place and just peel it up like so, and then we'll dump this in as well. See what I mean about it being thick? Okay, we'll give that a stir. Now this stuff is so thick and concentrated, there's going to be a fair amount left inside of the can. And that's what the teapot full of water is for. So I'm going to set this down on the ground for now. Alright, as you can see, there's a whole crap load left in there. Easy way to get it out. Pour your boiling water into the can. We'll give that a stir as well to dissolve anything that's inside the can. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pour this can of water over the lid and into our bucket. Like I said before, this extract is really, really thick, and a little bit goes a long way. So stir it well. Make sure all the extract that's still inside the can has been dissolved. And I'll move the camera again, see if you can't get a better view with this. There, that's better. And then we'll very carefully pour the water over the top of the can. Try and get the extract off of that as well. Alright, and as you can see, besides the can being really hot, it is clear. We'll give the whole thing one good stir yet, make sure everything is completely dissolved. Okay. Now, at this point, even though it's not necessary, you can opt to add yeast nutrient. The reason I say it's not necessary is because this is wort instead of must. It's got a lot of proteins and enzymes in it that the yeast will use to be completely happy and go about their business of converting all of the sugar into tasty and therapeutic alcohol. But since you and I are winemakers, and we have yeast nutrient available, we're going to add a little bit anyway. One teaspoon per gallon. And I am making a 5-gallon batch, actually 23 liters. I think 5 gallons is 19 liters. There. Okay, so for all intents and purposes, we've just made beer. Now, there's only a total volume of 1 gallon in here, so we just add cold or warm water alternately until we hit the 5-gallon mark, and our target temperature we're looking for is somewhere between 70 and 80 degrees, so we can pitch the yeast right away. And I will just set it like so. First gallon. Okay, need a thermometer to test the temperature. And right now it's coming in a little high at 93 degrees. So I know now we need to add cold water. Give it a quick stir. And another temperature reading. Alright, the temperature has dropped down to 87 degrees, but that's still a bit warm for the yeast, so we'll add another gallon of cold water. Alright, now there's slightly more than 4 US gallons in the bucket. And this is where it gets a little dicey. We only have a gallon of liquid leeway to raise or lower the temperature to between 70 and 80 degrees. Alright, right now it is 80.2 degrees. So, last gallon will be cold. one final stir, and then we will take our final temperature reading. And like I said, the temperature is between 70 and 80 degrees. We're good to go to pitch in the yeast. Now, I am actually making a 5-gallon batch of beer, but I have filled it up to the 21 liter mark. I think 5 gallons is 19 liters. And the reason for that is you're going to have a fair amount of truth at the bottom of this bucket. So I want to be able to rack 5 full gallons into my Cornelius keg, since I don't bottle, and I don't want to risk picking up too much of the yeast sediment on the bottom. So I'm actually making a little more than I need, and that's fine. And we are at, if this thing stops moving, 75.5 degrees. Perfect. Alright, Orm, we have just made a kit and kilo style beer using the 5 and 7 method. And beer ferments out a whole lot faster than wine does. This could be done in 5 days, it could be done in 10 days. What I do is I will leave it for 14 days. Because after 14 days, there's no doubt in anybody's mind fermentation has stopped. And after it's done fermenting, you're going to have to figure out what you want to do with it. Like I said, I used to bottle, but now I keg my beers, and I have 2 kegs. So what I usually do is I'll spend 5 hours and I'll do an all grain, put that in one keg, and then I will do a kit beer like this one to put in the second keg. The last one being the Mutton's Mexican Cerveza kit, which turned out pretty good for what it is. But if you don't have kegs, you're going to have to decide what kind of bottles that you want. Glass bottles are probably the best, but then you need caps and a capper. You could go with the brown. Excuse me. You could go with the brown PET bottles, but those are more expensive. At least at my homebrew supply store, it's about $20 for a 24 bottle case, and honestly I can't see spending that kind of money for a case that's empty. Another thing that you might want to try using is any plastic bottles that previously held something carbonated. And by that I mean a soda bottle. For instance, what I have here is a bottle of my experimental brown sugar and maple syrup ale, and this is in a 16-ounce soda bottle. It's been clean and sterilized. The caps are on really tight, and it's only been in here for about 4 days, and it takes about 2 or 3 weeks to carbonate. But that's another option for you. The easiest way to carbonate your beers in a bottle is through a method called batch priming, and that basically, it's an ounce of corn sugar per gallon. So for a 5-gallon batch, you use 3 ounces or 3/4 cup of dextrose. You dissolve it in a few fluid ounces of water. You pour that into a clean and sanitized fermenting bucket, an empty one, and then you rack your beer from this fermenting bucket into that fermenting bucket, and after it's been transferred, you stir it really well to make sure that all of the sugar is distributed evenly, and then you just bottle straight away from there, and every beer will turn out nicely carbonated, and carbonated exactly the same way. So I know I'm not that great at showing people how to make things. I mean, your videos are a whole lot better than mine, but I hope this video gives you a little insight on the the techniques for a simple beer kit. And I encourage you to not only watch my videos, but any other video you can find on the subject. The beautiful thing about YouTube is there's literally thousands of videos on how to make beer. It goes without saying, CraigTube has his homebrewing the easy way. His first video and an updated video where he changes a few things around. But as you can see, it's pretty easy to to make beer this method. Now there's 3 other types. There's the partial extract, where you just use 6 or 8 pounds of dry or liquid malt extract. You steep specialty grains such as Crystal 40, Crystal 60, Carapils, Vienna malt, and then you have to do like a micro sparge with that. And then there's a brew in the bag, where it's an all grain, but it's done in a pot instead of a mash tun cooler. And then you have all grains, where you have to let the grains steep, and then you have to sparge, and then you need a 60-minute boil, adding your hops and whatnot. The techniques, they're not really overly complicated if you don't want them to be. Anyway, I'm starting to babble now, so hope the video helps you out whenever you decide to branch off into the beer making side of homebrewing. Take care of yourself, and until the next video, buddy, 17.